Good morning, everybody. I'm Nick, and today we're here at Gaithersburg High School to learn about some basic car problems that every student should be able to solve, whether you drive or not. Looking at you, freshmen.
I'm the automotive teacher here at Gaithersburg High School. I've been here as a teacher for 7 years, going on my 8th year now. Before that, I spent over 30 years in car dealerships, mostly with Chrysler, but a couple years with Volkswagen. Hopefully you guys enjoyed what we did, and if you do enjoy it, join the class. It's a 2-year class, career credit, 2-year completer, as well as SSL hours, just for being in the class and helping us sell cars once a year. So consider it, especially if you got a passion for it. You can go right out of school and start actually working, or you can take it into post-secondary and do some college work in the classes as well. You would remove the nut, take this out, and then you want to screw this up a little closer to the car. If you get down, all owner's manuals tell you where the jacking points are. Okay, this one is actually right here. There's actually a little triangle built into it. I don't know if you can see it down here or not. So all I'm going to do now is I want to get it much closer before we can actually start to lift the car.
A few moments later.
Now we're actually starting to contact the car. And before we lift it up, we want to make sure we break the lug nuts loose now, while it's on the ground, so the car can't roll away in the air and it'll just spin the tire. All you gotta do is crack them loose. When they're real bad like that, you can use your power of your body to use your muscles in your body.
So you're just loosening them?
Just loosening them. We're not taking them off yet. We're just loosening them.
1 minute, 37 seconds later.
Okay, so they're all loose now. Tire's still on it. Now we lift it up to get the tire up off the ground.
20 minutes later.
Okay, the tire's off the ground. We can now take it off. And whatever you do, you don't have a jack stand underneath this, you're on a jack. Never put anything under the car. If it falls off, it falls off. It doesn't land on you. If it lands on you, it's gonna hurt really bad. All right, so from here, we just want to take the lug nuts off now. Always put them where you know they're at, because if you lose them, you will not be able to drive down the road.
346 minutes later.
Always try to keep the lug nuts close to you. You don't want them getting too far away. You take off 5, you got to put back on 5. From here, you just grab the tire, roll it away. Now you would get your spare tire and put it on.
Two hours later.
Now it's time to get out the lug wrench and start to snug these up. You're only going to get it so tight before the tire rolls. So you'll do a process. You'll get it tight as you can now. You'll lower the tire down till it touches the ground. Not all the weight off of it, touches the ground. We'll stop it from rolling and tighten it again.
Much later.
It's about as tight as you're going to get it in the air. Now it's time to let it down a little bit and just touch the tire on the ground so it'll hold it for you. So we just back up and we went to the right to basically tighten it up, make it go up. We're going to go back to the left to lower it. And you can kind of watch it dropping as we do it. As soon as it touches the ground, I can finish tightening it now. I don't want to put all the weight on it until I get it good and tight on the car, because otherwise it might wobble.
1 eternity later.
Now that would definitely get me off the side of the road. In a perfect world though, I would want to bring a torque wrench back and re-torque it with a torque wrench to verify I got it tight enough. Otherwise, it could loosen up driving down the road. And the last but not least, bring it all the way down.
3:28 a.m.
Temperature changed, we got colder, started having their little tire light come on, because there's nothing that they have a leak, is that we got colder outside and pressures dropped, natural signs. Should check it at least once a month. A tire is capable of losing 1 to 2 PSI per month just from being on the car. The first thing you would do if you're in a shop, you would connect your air chuck. A lot of the gas stations already have this connected where you can't walk off with it. Otherwise somebody might take it away. First thing you do, get yourself a good tire gauge, unscrew the tire cap, and you want to get this on here, push down, and you get a reading. Now this one's reading 40 PSI, so it depends on where you want it. The tire in the door on this car I think says 35, the tire says 44. I try to keep them about 41, my personal preference. I get better wear that way, a little bit better fuel economy, and they're not real squishy. I don't mind it riding a little rougher. That's the only really disadvantage to bringing up the tire pressures a little bit. But if I air them up a little bit, less rolling resistance, I get a little bit better fuel economy, which everybody's looking for better fuel economy. Here's the air chuck. Now I could use this if I was one of those big wheels where I was coming in from the back side. But most wheels come in this way, you're just gonna push in on it. And then double check it. If you wanted to let it down, you could either sit there and back and forth and let the pressure down, or you could release the pressure with this button to lower the pressure down to where you want it. Really all they're looking for with the door is optimum ride, not necessarily wear or comfort. They want it to be the most comfortable for somebody driving the car, but not necessarily the best fuel economy or the best wear. I tend to go a little higher toward the top end of the tire pressures, but not topped out. These are not performance tires. They're 44 PSI max pressure. I take them to 41. Always do that cold. If you're going hot, in other words, you drove it at least a mile, you do it hot, you add 2 PSI to whatever you want to put in. So if I wanted it 35 and I just drove it to the gas station, I put in 37. Because the same as they drop pressures when temperature drops, pressures rise when we heat them up. Even sitting in the sun will make this tire heat up more than the other side will. Tire pressures are critical. You want to definitely have good tire pressures. Low tire pressures destroy tires. First thing you need to do if you need to jump start your car, we need to get into the hood. All hoods have a release inside. Well, most hoods have a release inside. Nathaniel, can you pop open that hood for me, please? There's usually a little trigger somewhere underneath the driver's side of the dashboard or on the side. Now, once you come up, it stops right here. This is a secondary latch. That way, if you accidentally pop it driving down the road, it doesn't fly up and cover your windshield. So you got to reach in there, find where it is, right here. Just pull up on it a little bit. They're all a little different. All I would do was that, and it releases the hood. From there, we open up the prop and hold it there so it doesn't come down and hit us. Now, first thing you gotta do is find the battery. Some cars, it's not right underneath the hood. Some cars, it's down in the fender, in the trunk, or under the driver's seat. This would have to be right here. You can look and see that battery kind of looks a little old and nasty. If it's a good battery, it definitely would need to be cleaned, which a dirty battery can cause a dead battery condition. So what we're gonna do here is instead of using jumper cables, the new thing to do today is to buy a jumper box where I carry the battery to the car. I don't have to get into it with another vehicle. I don't have to worry about does somebody else have the jumper cables. I'm capable of jumping it myself if I have my own jump box. The prices on these vary greatly. Make sure you buy high ampage capable boxes. They're not real cheap, but the good ones will definitely get you off the road into trouble. Okay, now they're color coded, positive for red and negative for black. Don't always trust that the cables on the car are the right colors. Never trust it. Always look at the battery. The positive should be on the plus post and the negative should go to the negative post. So on this one, I've already kind of done my homework here, and I know that this one is the positive and this one is the ground or the negative. The very first thing I'm going to hook up is the positive. Unwrap it. It opens up nice and tight, and you want to get a good bite on it. You might have to wiggle a little bit to get a good bite in. If you don't get a good bite, it might not start the car. You don't always want to go straight to the battery. I could also go to the engine block rather than the battery, because everything is grounded and this is the ground. I'm going to take it to the battery just to show you guys. I would grab it and then wiggle it in, make sure I get a good bite on the terminals. This one actually has this nice little gauge telling me where we're at, telling me it's almost 13 volts. This should have enough to start the car. At this point, I've got my auxiliary battery up. I should be able to reach in and hit the start button. Nice quick start, fast run. I can now disconnect it in reverse order. Always take the ground off first. Take the ground off, I'm gonna wrap it up. Then take my positive off and wrap it up. Okay, it's ready to go back in your car. Now you would just shut the hood, you'd be able to drive off. You obviously want to run it a little while to make sure that battery charges up, or go somewhere that can test it. Because if your battery's dead, either you left something on in the car, or it's at that age where it's getting ready to not start your car again. At which point, most auto parts houses will actually test the battery for you. And even in a simple installation like this, they'll install it for you for free.